This is WKYT News at 6:30 on the CW Lexington.
And good evening. I'm Sam Dick, live here on the CW Lexington with WKYT News at 6:30. It's been a very busy day. We've had breaking news in Lexington, and we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. Trending right now, the NCAA has charged the University of Louisville men's basketball program with 4 major violations. Those violations stemming from allegations that the team made impermissible offers to recruits in the form of adult entertainment, sexual acts, or cash. Now, that story is the most clicked on right now on WKYT.com. No surprise by that. Followed by 2 children critically injured by an SUV, and a 4th suspect charged now in the death of Trinity Gay pleads not guilty. Now, here's what we're following right now at 6:30. A car plowing through the glass storefront of a Lexington AT&T store. That happened late this afternoon, hitting a woman inside the store. WKYT's Monique Blair is live, coming up with some breaking details on that situation. 2 children in Louisville in critical condition right now after being hit while waiting at a school bus stop this morning. We have more details on what happened with that coming up. And the Kentucky Supreme Court, as I mentioned a little while ago on KYT, striking down a Louisville ordinance raising the city's minimum wage to $10.10 an hour. Now, a similar Lexington ordinance is also invalid. An economics expert from UK joining us to break down the news about what that could mean for workers and business owners. Meanwhile, Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's got the coat off.
Yep.
You have been busy this afternoon, and as you had told us, this whole thing about warm and dry, it's out the window, isn't it?
It is. Pattern's getting a lot more active now. We're saying goodbye to where we've been over the past few days. Going to turn colder. And to get from point A to point B, from the warm stuff to the cold stuff, you know what has to happen? Something has to give, and it's giving right now, and it's giving us a nice little drink of water. Defender Radar Network has been lighting up with showers and thunderstorms for the past several hours, and right now, a lot of this action is targeting the Bluegrass region and points to the south and southwest. A strong little thunderstorm to the northeast of Columbia, Adair County. Look at all this around parts of Stanford here into Lincoln County. Working in from southwest to northeast, putting down upwards of a quick inch of rain in a few spots, maybe a little pea-sized hail. Lancaster, Garrett County, some heavier rains back to the west into Harrodsburg, Danville, Lexington Metro. We've noticed how this rain is really beginning to ramp it up now. So nice soaking rains. Watching a couple of storms out ahead of that. One on top of Richmond, another just to the southeast of Richmond. That'll cross the Mountain Parkway corridor coming up here in just a little bit. Now focusing on Georgetown, Frankfort, Lawrenceburg, and downtown Lexington with some heavier rains that are coming down. If you're going to be traveling over the next little bit, Sam, watch out for some ponding of water on area roads. Coming up in a few minutes, we will track some additional rounds of rain through the overnight. And then we'll focus on the big temperature slide as well. We'll see in about 6 minutes.
Thank you, Chris. We're tracking breaking news in Lexington right now. Some frightening moments at a Lexington store tonight when a car crashed right into a building. It went totally into the store. One woman ended up being trapped underneath that car. It happened about 2 hours ago at the AT&T store over on South Broadway, a very busy place, especially at rush hour. WKYT's Monique Blair arrived there just minutes after that crash, and she's live now with the breaking details. Monique?
Hi, Sam. I have brand new details right now. Lexington police tell me the driver of the car that was, as of just a few moments ago, completely inside this AT&T store here on South Broadway. Police say the driver told them that her brakes went out, so in order to avoid a collision here on South Broadway, she swerved, and that's when she ended up completely, again, inside this AT&T store. Now, there was a customer who was inside the store trapped underneath that car. We did see that woman as she was trapped because we were right across the street when this happened. Now, I watched as firefighters pulled her free from that car. Police tell me she was taken to the hospital, but her injuries are not serious. Now, the driver was still here on scene for a while after this happened, but in just the past couple of minutes, we watched as an ambulance took her away to the hospital. Police tell me she is being taken to be checked out, and police do not expect to charge that driver. Now, firefighters say there is surprisingly not any serious structural damage to the store here, just a couple of broken windows and broken doors, and of course, a lot of glass. And you can see there is also a tow truck here on scene taking that car away. The car that you see on the back of that tow truck was the car that was inside this store. I'm reporting live here in Lexington. Monique Blair, WKYT.
Monique, thank you. Excellent job. A busy Garrett County road has reopened hours after police say a crash killed one person and injured two others. It happened this afternoon on US 27, that's north of Lancaster. Police say a dark-colored minivan was heading south when for some reason it crossed the center line and turned sideways, and they say a white minivan then T-boned it. The name of that person killed has not been released. Now, police say that one of the two people taken to the hospital is a child who has serious injuries. 3 children in Louisville were badly injured today after being hit by an SUV at a school bus stop. Police say the driver of the SUV didn't realize that the school bus was stopping suddenly, swerved to miss hitting the bus, but did not see the 3 children on the sidewalk. Garrett Weimer's in the newsroom now with more on how the community is reacting.
A difficult day in that Louisville neighborhood. Neighbors tell our sister station WKYT that everyone knows everybody there. So when they saw what happened, they jumped in to help.
What was going on, I was just like, I gotta save his baby. I gotta save his baby.
One woman who saw it happen was too shaken to talk on camera. She says neighbors came together and lifted the car off of one young girl pinned under the SUV after it plowed into a group of elementary schoolers waiting to get on the bus.
The only thing that she was doing was kicking, and then she stopped kicking, and I ran down to try to find her parents, and next thing you know, when I come back, the guys said that they lifted the truck up and pulled her from up under the vehicle.
Investigators say the SUV's driver didn't see the bus and swerved to miss it on the right side when it hit the kids. We're told 2 are in critical condition and a 3rd in serious condition. Police blocked off streets to help get the ambulance to the hospital quickly. All in all, a heartbreaking situation that also angers those who live here.
That's bad. That's bad because early in the morning, it don't make no sense to be driving that fast. They come through here, they be flying.
Neighbors along Duminal Street in Louisville say speed has been a problem there, and they've asked for speed bumps before. But what happened there this morning is just beyond anything they can understand. In the newsroom, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Garrett, thank you. The driver of that SUV was also taken to the hospital in serious condition. A Franklin County auto parts plant has reopened days after 2 deadly workplace accidents within a week. Monoplast voluntarily shut down on Tuesday after a man died from electric shock. Then days earlier, a woman died from injuries from working with a crane. A statement from the company said they inspected every piece of equipment before resuming production yesterday. They say that grief counselors will be available for employees. Well, the Hope Center is warning people in Lexington about a donation scam. Leaders say that some people are going door to door claiming to be raising money for the Hope Center. They say the people do not represent the Hope Center, and the Hope Center does not raise money door to door. They say that one of these people has identified herself as Brenda Johnson. And these scam reports have mainly been on the south side of town in Lexington, including Tates Creek Road and Heartland Parkway. After increasing just 3 months ago, Lexington's minimum wage will now be going back down to the federal level of $7.25 an hour. The state's high court struck down Louisville's minimum wage law, saying that the council overstepped its authority when it raised wages. And that opinion prevents cities from increasing the minimum wage. The Urban County Council here in Lexington voted last fall to raise the minimum wage to $10.10 in Lexington by the year 2018. But the new ruling now invalidates that ordinance, and Lexington city leaders are split on the decision.
And knew going into it that this was a possibility from the beginning.
We actually do need to improve wages, but there's another way to go about this.
Now, the decision is now up to individual employers. Councilmember Masadi says that she hopes that state leaders will pass a bill raising the minimum wage statewide. To help us break down the news, we're joined by Aaron Yelowitz. He is an associate professor in the UK Department of Economics. He received his PhD from the Michigan Institute of Technology, and he is a scholar with the Cato Institute. Some pretty incredible background there. Thank you for jumping in here tonight. It's raining outside. We appreciate the short notice and coming in.
Oh, thanks.
So we asked you to crunch the numbers for us. How many workers in Louisville and Lexington earn $10.10 an hour? Do we know that?
In Lexington, it's around 81,000 workers that earn under $10.10 an hour, so somewhere between $7.25 and $10.10. In Louisville, the number's more like 142,000. So in both metro areas, it's a substantial amount of the entire labor force. In Lexington, about 250,000 people are working. In Louisville, it's about 615,000 for the whole metro area.
How many of those workers actually live in the cities that we're talking about?
Around 70% of them live in the cities, which is important because often there are arguments about where the money will ultimately be spent. Obviously, people commute from outside of Fayette County here into Fayette County. And as well, in Louisville, people commute from Indiana to Louisville as well as from the surrounding counties.
What would have been the impact of a $10.10 wage, minimum wage, saying you've got to pay people this amount of money?
It would have two effects. First off, for workers who keep their jobs, it would raise wages about $3,000 per year in the bluegrass for workers in those cities. It does come at a cost, however. When you raise the price of labor, often employers will shed jobs. If you go to a kiosk, for example, you'll see, or if you go to a store, you'll see a kiosk instead of a cashier, for example. My estimates would suggest that perhaps 2,400 jobs will be lost in Lexington, about 3,900 in Louisville.
Any guess as to what happens now, Aaron, given that the Supreme Court has made this decision in Kentucky? Where do you think we go from here?
What I would bet is we'd wait for the federal government to do something. After November 8th, we'll kind of know what direction the country is going in. Wouldn't be surprised if the minimum wage goes up to $10.10 or even perhaps $12 per hour. So what I would suspect is that lawmakers here might wait and see what the federal government does.
And of course, we don't know. Employers that have already raised that minimum wage, they could keep it there, or some could say, hey, I'm going to take it back to the federal level. So we don't know really how many are going to do that, right? I mean, that's just anyone's guess.
It would be morale draining probably to lower wages, but you might imagine that for new hires, one would bring them in at the lower $7.25, that sort of thing, and then allow them to perhaps ratchet up as they gain experience.
And real quickly, 20 seconds, were you surprised by what happened today with the U.S. Supreme Court?
I'm too old to be
Kentucky
surprised.
Supreme Court, excuse me.
I'm too old to be surprised by anything, but I testified in Louisville back when they were talking about this in 2014, and I thought that the city would be able to do that. In other places where I've talked about this, cities have been able to do it. So I was a bit surprised, I suppose.
Okay. Aaron Yelowich, thank you very much from the University of Kentucky.
Thanks so much.
We appreciate it, Aaron. And you can join the conversation by leaving your comments on WKYT.com or on our Facebook page. Let us know what you think. Thousands of people in Lexington got their hands on free flu shots today thanks to the Lexington-Fayette County Health Department. We'll have a look at the free pop-up clinics in less than 3 minutes. The NCAA hands down its notice of violations today against the University of Louisville. Dave Baker joins me later in sports with how head coach Rick Pitino is handling these allegations. On this rainy night, welcome back to WKYT News here at 6:30 on the CW Lexington. There's only a few minutes left in the Fayette County Health Department's annual free flu shot clinic. This year, it's being held at two places, Southland Christian Church over there on Richmond Road and Consolidated Baptist Church on Russell Cave Road. Health Department leaders say they're ready to give out 2,000 free shots today.
The flu shot is the quickest, easiest, and safest way to stop the spread of flu to the community and to help yourself from becoming sick this flu season.
And the free clinics end in about 15 minutes. Well, if you're at home, you may want to stay there. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey joins us from the First Alert Weather Center. Right, Chris?
Yeah, a little wet out there tonight, Sam, and we are dealing with widespread rain across the bluegrass region, thunder, lightning. I know a lot of middle school football games are likely being delayed or maybe even postponed right now with those showers and thunderstorms that continue. Notice how this is expanding. We touched on this over on WKYT a little earlier this evening on how that little narrow band of some thunderstorms will try to increase, and that is indeed the case as of now. We're going to still see more rain developing later tonight, so you can't just look at your radar out to the west that doesn't have much on it and say, oh, we're done after this. Now we're going to see more developing as we go through the next few hours. Between Columbia and Liberty, thunder, lightning, that's just to the north of Russell Springs, and that's putting down some heavy downpours here as it heads into Liberty and Dunville. We go into Richmond, rain, Berea, back over towards Stanford, Danville, Harrodsburg, Lancaster, Bryantsville, Nicholasville. We'll throw as many cities we can get out there just to say hi to folks. Georgetown, Lexington, over into Versailles. Heavy downpours, thunder and lightning. Couple of strikes here over the past 15 minutes. Remember, when you look at our radar, the lightning bolts that are on there have only occurred within the past 15 minutes. Very heavy rain on the east side of town, maybe lightning just a little bit toward the west side. Breaking the action here, Toyota plant to Carlisle, Paris, North Middletown, and into Cynthiana, showers, thunderstorms. Now look at this complex of thunderstorms between Mount Sterling and the Mountain Parkway. So south of Mount Sterling, the Levy area, Jeffersonville, Camargo, Lower Spencer. This is going to head toward Interstate 64 coming up over the next little bit. And all of this into southeastern Kentucky will begin to increase. So we're going to see the showers actually increasing overnight as we get another cold front to make its way on into the area. This is a short-term, hour-by-hour future radar. So I told you, you can't just look at the radar now and say, oh, we're done with it, because notice how the rains just keep filling in tonight and through 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. And if anything, you can almost see a little bit of a swirl showing up in that future radar. Here's a different version, a little more coarse version that will run us into the weekend. 50s through 11 o'clock or so. It's a quick drop coming up in the thermometer into the bluegrass region. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, rains heaviest across the east. Everybody low to mid 50s. Noontime, it's still raining. 75 in points to the east. We're going to try to get some late day rays of sun into the bluegrass region. Eastern Kentucky probably not going to be the case. 11 o'clock tomorrow evening. 40s are out there. High school football fans, it's going to be a chilly evening out at the old field tomorrow night. We go into Saturday morning, 30s around. Saturday afternoon, mix of sun and clouds, gusty winds, a lot of mid-50s that will show up. And it's a cold evening taking shape for that Saturday, even as a little bit of high cloud cover streams on in from northwest to southeast. That 7-day forecast Sunday looking absolutely gorgeous now. Windy day. Another little system passes us just to the north Sunday night into Monday. Shouldn't bring precipitation our way, but it will knock the temperatures back into the low 60s. And Tuesday morning, a kiss of frost is possible before the next system brings some rain into town Wednesday and Thursday. 35 Saturday morning, you're looking at that thinking, okay, cover the plants. Winds are going to be gusty, 10, 15 miles an hour, so frost is probably not going to form, even with temperatures in the 30s.
I'm fixated on Saturday night at Commonwealth.
Cold.
And what to wear.
Cold.
And be prepared, I guess.
Cold.
Layers.
Cold. Layer up, hot chocolate, whatever you want to sneak in. Well, okay, not whatever, but you get the idea, right?
Be careful.
Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
U of L under fire by the NCAA. Dave Baker joins me next with the Sports Buzz. Welcome back live. It is time now for the Sports Buzz. Each night we talk with Dave Buzz Baker for an inside look at what's going on. Points to you. You said the other day, maybe it was yesterday, that today would be the day.
Right.
It was for U of L.
It is, and now it actually starts the process, and we can see what happens with this deal. After months of speculation, the university was officially notified of 4 Level 1 NCAA violations today as a result of that tell-all book by self-described escort Katina Powell, and they include a charge against Louisville coach Rick Pitino of failing to monitor an employee. But the charges, many think, could have been much worse, and today Pitino sounded like a man who felt that same way.
This university right now has a lot of great things happening. Our baseball team was ranked number 2 in the nation. Our soccer team's top 10. Our football team's top 10. We're currently ranked 14th going into the season. Our women's program is top 5, putting a lot of heat on me. And it's something very special that's happening right now, but we're dealing with a very difficult thing that will be in our rearview mirror very soon because we've been transparent. We tell the truth. And by telling the truth, your problems become part of your past. So I'm not interested in my legacy when it comes to that.
All right, so Sam, what about the allegations now? That's what people want to know. The allegations are level 1. Those are considered the most serious by the NCAA, saying that Andre McGee provided impermissible benefits to at least 17 recruits. McGee knowingly violated ethical conduct policies by doing that. Brandon Williams, who was a member of the staff who's no longer there, refused to provide phone records to the NCAA. And finally, the accusation that Rick Pitino failed to monitor Andre McGee. Question becomes now, okay, what does this mean for the Cards and what happened? So they took the postseason ban. They self-imposed that last year. They now have 90 days to respond to the NCAA, and after that, the NCAA has 60 days to respond. That means there would probably be a hearing sometime in the spring, and the question is, what will happen for violations like this? You're looking at maybe a 1 or 2 year probation. Of course, the U of L folks are hoping that what they have already done will mitigate the possibility of that, and they're hoping it will protect the national championship that they won because these allegations occurred during that period of time. Now, the other big question people want to know is, what does it mean for Rick Pitino? Okay, the NCAA rules changed a couple of years ago, and it said if something happens under a coach, it's the coach's responsibility to know whether he knew or not. It's his responsibility. Now, it's more serious if they say he knew, but potentially he could be under a show cause order. What that means is if you're a school that wanted to employ him, you'd have to show a cause why he should be hired and be trusted. That ended Claude Bassett's career. It did not end Bruce Pearl's career, who was under a show cause. Most people do not think that that will be the case, but in most cases where there have been violations like this, it's not uncommon for the coach to have to sit 30 to 50% of the games. U of L and Tom Jurich said today they're going to fight this allegation against Pitino, so that means it would probably not be decided until the spring when they go before the infractions committee, and so we would not see Rick Pitino missing any games this year if the NCAA Committee on Infractions holds up what these allegations are. So the NCAA office are the ones who have leveled these allegations. The Committee on Infractions, which is now made up of member schools and their representatives, they'll now adjudicate whether anything has happened. And for the time being, Louisville, ranked 14th in the country, they begin play.
Real quickly, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst violations, 1 not the worst, where do you think these stack up to give people some perspective?
There will be many people that say, what is going on? How could people not know? I mean, they interviewed 90 people, and they say they didn't know. I'd say right now it's like at a 5 or something, and we'll just have to see.
Bad enough.
Bad enough, but not nearly as bad as it could be.
Okay, thanks, Buzz.
All right.
Ahead tonight, here on the CW Lexington, an hour of Family Feud is next. Then at 8, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, followed by Supernatural at 9. And then over on WKYT, Thursday night football, my Packers. The kickoff is at 7:30. The Chicago Bears taking on those Packers. The game begins at 8:30, followed by WKYT News later around 11:30.
Heavy rain, thunder, and lightning across the Bluegrass region. It is a wet evening in the Bluegrass State as temperatures drop.
Thanks for joining Dave, Chris, and Sam. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.